John Daly. He's not going to go 6 under in day one and then shoot a 96. That's not the kind of things he does. But Tiger's divorce over the last 6 or 7 months, he's gone through all the stages of divorce. Now, I need to preface all this by saying I've never been divorced before. I've never been married before. As a matter of fact, I've had 2 real serious girlfriends, and the most recent one left me because she got a boob job. And she probably cheated on me. So, I don't know about divorces firsthand, but I've learned about them from other people. And there's that time in the stages of divorce where you feel anger, sadness, guilt. And that's where Tiger's been for the last 6 or 7 months. And that takes a toll on your life. It takes a toll on your job. And during this time, many will try to use work as an escape. I've talked to people about that. I've talked to people at the radio station. I've talked to people in other fields. Some people try to use work as an escape during that stage of the divorce process. But that doesn't mean that your work will be good work, because Tiger's stung. And Tiger admitted yesterday that the divorce has affected his game. Here's one for you. Talking about divorces, and I've never been divorced before, as I said. But I know a guy in radio. And, he was married for about a decade, had 2 kids. One of those guys that bounced around radio market to radio market. And he's what you would call a serial fornicator. He got around. And I think his wife knew it. His wife probably knew it, but they stayed together. They had kids. Well, they relocate to a city together, and they're still married. They get to the city. He's got a nice job, and probably the best market he'd ever been in. He was a morning show guy. And that's when it really got bad and got ugly, because his wife found out that he was in fact cheating. And it got really bad. I'm talking about Maury Povich, Springer, episode of Cops, trailer park stuff. It got really ugly out the street. And this guy's wife just bailed. She took the kids, moved out of state, and he was left alone. And within a few weeks, he lost his job at the radio station he worked at because he couldn't get it done anymore. His head was so fried. Mentally, he was fried. His head was all over the place. It was like frozen yolk. It's like scrambled eggs. He couldn't get it done anymore. So they fired him. And I asked him how he eventually bounced back. Because a few weeks ago, or I should say, a few weeks after all that went down in his life, he was able to find another job. He was able to get over it. And I asked him when he got over it. And he said it's in that final stage of divorce. It's in that stage where you start to move on. And it depends on how many stages you think there are. But the growing acceptance stage in a divorce is where you look forward, you plan for the future, and you're in a better mood. And that's where Tiger was yesterday. And by comparison, let's go back to the press conference back in February. In February, Tiger was a zombie. This is Tiger Woods apologizing after he was busted.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me. I want to say to each of you, simply and directly, I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
He was robotic, reading from a script. Sounded like he was hosting a gardening show on NPR. Tell us how the lilacs are blooming, Tiger. Now, go to yesterday. And Tiger's a guy that's never been open, never really been candid with the media, very closed off. That's just the kind of guy he is. And most superstars are. Most superstars don't want to let you into their world because they're in a totally different world than any of us are, and Tiger's one of those guys. But yesterday, he talked openly about the divorce and looking forward to the future.
My actions certainly led us to this decision, and I've certainly made a lot of errors in my life, and that's something I'm going to have to live with.
Notice the different tone in his voice. He's basically delivering the same message. Play that first cut, the cut one more time again. Listen to how down, listen to how robotic, listen to how he read that original message back in February. Play that again.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me.
Reading from a script.
I want to say to each of you, simply and directly, I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Very disingenuous, very reading from a script, very still in the stages of divorce where you think there's still that opportunity for you to come back and still be something, so you're trying to play it a little bit safe. And everybody's been at that point in a relationship, whether you've been married or not. You've been to that point where you kind of have to play it safe a little bit and admit that you were wrong. But then listen to the difference in the tone of his voice again. When you listen to yesterday, he's more free with it. He's open about it. This is the most open I've ever heard Tiger about his relationship with his wife.
My actions certainly led us to this decision, and I've certainly made a lot of errors in my life, and that's something I'm going to have to live with.
Really open. He sounds a lot more open than he has. There was a lot of stuff in that press conference yesterday. And if you looked at his face, he had bags under his eyes. He looked pretty rough. He looked like a stale Getty. It wasn't pretty. He had the bags under his eyes. He was tired. He's obviously tired. He's had a hellish 6 or 7 months. But look at what he's done today. A 65. It's the best round he's played since all this went down. Since he took a 9-iron to the side of the head. A bat to the side of the head. Allegedly, he took that. Since his SUV accident, it's the best golf he's played. And it's a lot easier to come back and bounce back from something once you're in that final stage of divorce. Or if you've never been married, the final stage of a breakup. We've all been there at some point, whether we're man, woman, whatever. You've been there before. We've all been in that situation before. So I'm not surprised at all that Tiger Woods has come out beasting today. It's pretty sick. Now, can he sustain? I think he can. And again, I'm not the only one. You know, when Keith Slocum, a guy that won this tournament a year ago, says, it wouldn't shock me if he played really well this week. Well, what has he done? He's played really well through one day. How about Tiger teeing off at 6:10 Central Time? It was 7:10 over on the East. I'm not going to go through the time zones again. I think we've established that I know my time zone. Tiger teeing off early. Tiger teeing off, I'm sure, with some fanfare, but it's at 7:10 in the morning. I don't think he's going to have massive fanfare. And he puts up a huge number. It's really impressive. And if you've been through the divorce stage, 1-800-636-8686. You can text 37170. All right, here's what I want to know from you. Because if I'm crazy, if I'm wrong about this, let me know.